was a shadow in the government's game, pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone, always searching for a place I could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hell on beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a tailhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello, everybody. It's Henry. This one here is number 22. In my last one, 21, you heard me talk about a guy that I met named Juan. Well, I'd made it back and they had all the information they needed, and now they thought they was going to start me out on another venture of learning. They're going to give me some more information. Well, I'd had a day or two of rest, and now I was ready for the next phase. Don't ask me why they give me this information. I have no clue. But one morning, late morning, I hear walking coming down the hallway. Heard the buzz and the lock popped, and in come this lady and two guards. They asked me if I was awake enough for a visitor, or do I need a few minutes to pull myself together. I'm not one of them people that just wake up unless I'm being shot at. Otherwise, it takes a little bit to shake the cobwebs out of my head. And usually after a glass of soda, maybe a donut, I'm starting to slowly wake up. Well, I noticed they had me my little thermos thing of soda and plate with a donut on it. All I had to do was throw it in the microwave, because I like them warm donuts. Especially if they glazed, or they're a honey bun or a glazed donut. So I placed the plate in there and set the timer. Sitting there trying to shake the cobwebs out of my head. Get some caffeine in me. Well, after a few minutes there, enjoying my donut, and my caffeine started kicking in, had to smoke. I was feeling half human, ready to face the late morning. Got my clothes on and went with these people down the hallway and wondering what today was going to bring. Was I going to be taking another hop? Or was I going to get a thrashing for something I'd done? Or even something I didn't do? All these thoughts run through my head, like always. Well, we come to the elevator, got in, and they punched the numbers in. We went down a few levels. Elevator stopped, and we come into this hallway that I didn't recognize. I'd never seen this, so it must have been down lower than the levels I'd been in previously. We took a right out of the elevator and go down. You had to go left or right. We took a right. They opened up a door that led into a stairwell. It was a kind of a spiral staircase made out of metal, steel. I tried looking down and really couldn't see too much other than light down there. So we ran around that damn spiral staircase. Get down there, and there's a room with the door closed and a shade on it, white shade pulled down. Well, they started checking my blood pressure. And they checked my heartbeat. They said, "You feeling okay today?" Yeah, I just woke up. A little quiet when I first wake up. Getting the cobwebs out of my head. Wondering what these crazy fuckers are going to do to me next. They said, "Well, today will be a day of learning." I said, "Okay." They never like to elaborate. They just tell you, today's going to be a day of learning. But in the back of my head, I'm wondering, is it going to be the easy way, the hard way, or the real easy way where I just lay down and go to sleep, and they send frequencies to me and play this weird sounds of frequency to give me the information, or was I going to be talking to somebody or something? They said, "Are you ready?" Guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be, considering. They said, "Now this might come as a shock to you, but it's perfectly harmless." So I assumed there ain't gonna be no pain involved, and they was like, kind of laughed a little bit. "No, we're talking about the visitor in the next room. We're going to see how well you can learn from something that you may not understand. You probably don't. But we want to see how well, if it's a possibility that you can learn from this person. Well, they must have used the term person real loosely. And there wasn't no damn person in that room that I was about to enter. They said, don't worry, we'll be sitting right there. That should have been concerned to worry right there. So we walk over to the door and they tap on the window. Open that door. What I seen on the other side of that door was beyond comprehension to me. There was this little bitty, grayish pale being standing there, about 3 foot tall. Skinny arms, skinny legs, with a big head, almond-shaped eyes, a hole on each side with just a little crease of a protruding nose, and almost like a slit for a mouth. 2 holes on each side of the head, I guess, for hearing. I stepped in there and I looked at this thing. I looked from top to bottom, from one side to the other. Asked if it'd be okay if I walk all the way around him. And I used him loosely because I ain't sure if it was a man or a woman. They said, sure. I walk around, I'm really looking at this thing, trying to see. And the whole time it's cocking its head and watching me. I get around behind and I noticed he was the same color all the way around, up and down. Not one hair anywhere on his body. I was amazed. I'll look into his face, get real close and look. He'd stretch his neck out and look at me real close too. I cocked my head and looking. And I'll be damned if it didn't look like he had a slight smile on his face. He's probably wondering what kind of idiot I was. These other people, they wasn't bothered by it. I guess I was in shock. I said, does he talk? They said, yeah, not in the way you would think. So I'd look at them, and I'd look back at him or her, whatever it was, and hit. Kind of like on Saturday Night Live. There's Pat. Well, don't know what made me do it. I said, can I touch him? Yeah, go ahead. So, real hesitantly, I reached out, touched him on the shoulder. That was the weirdest feeling I'd ever had. He didn't feel warm like us. His skin was kind of cold. Kind of like my skin gets in the wintertime. like a piece of meat you just took out of the refrigerator. And I'm sitting there touching him on the shoulder, running my finger on his shoulder there, on his skin. He reached out with his finger and touched me on the side of the face. I didn't flinch, I didn't pull back, because I figure fair is fair. You know, if I touch him, he'd touch me. I thought one of them said something. All I heard was greetings. I turned and looked at him like, what? He said greetings. That's why I heard what was said, but who said it? He did. I think he's fascinated with you. I said, well, I'm kind of fascinated with him too now. I guess he's harmless, isn't he? So yeah, he's docile. He's one of the good ones. I sure hell hope so. But I'd hate to see that little feller get mad. So I turned around looking at him some more. Trying to figure out where the zipper is. Thought maybe they had a midget or a dwarf in a costume. Or maybe it's an animated doll or something. There wasn't no zippers. It was sinking in. This is the real deal right here. The real McCoy. He extends a long, skinny arm out and points to the table with the chairs. And he pointed at me, pointed to the chairs. So I was watching him. I wanted to see how he walked. His movements with his arms was fluid-like. That's the best way I could explain it. So I start moseying over there, watching him, and he's moseying to the other side of the table. I pull my chair out, sit down. He goes down the other side of the table, and his chair just automatically slid out. He stood there. The chair slid underneath of him. He put his hands on the armrest and kind of pulled himself up so he could sit back because he was too small for that damn chair. Well, the woman and the two guards pulled up a chair back along the wall and had a seat. I said, so what's this all about? He proceeded to tell me that where he was from, and he was going to give a brief description of what these aliens were all about. Here come the education part. He goes, are you ready? I was like, yeah. Of course, he's not talking with his mouth. He's using frequencies to talk that I can understand. This woman gets up and brings a picture and lays it down on the table. She goes, hold that up where he can see it. I looked at the picture. Now I'm getting curious. I looked back at her and she goes, no, go ahead. Today's Education Day. It was a picture of Jesus praying, looking up. So I turned the picture around where he could see it. He stretched a long, bony arm out there and took the picture and looked at it. He proceeded to tell me that, no, there was a Jesus, but not what we think. Then he lowered a bombshell on me, which I kind of suspected, but was never confirmed. Wasn't no such thing as God. They were the gods. Anunnaki, whatever you want to call them. They were just the forerunners. The original Anunnaki was their bosses. Well, I had lots of questions. Well, then what happens when we die? If you go to the light, you go to them, they recycle you, send you back. You mean like reincarnation? Or like what they did to me with these spirits inside of me? And he goes, no. You come back, hopefully, through a womb, and you do life all over again. What if I don't want to come back? Then don't go to the light. That don't make a lot of damn sense, but I guess that explains a lot of the ghosts running around, haunting houses and different locations. He said, now this is probably going to sound really bad to you, but here's why we recycle humans. We don't eat like you people do. Well, yeah, it'd have to be something small. He said, we have no need for teeth. We feed off you humans' energy. You get sad, we feed off of that. You get mad, we feed off of that. When you feel love, we feed off of that. We feed off all your emotions. And just so you know, you ever felt like a lamb for slaughter? That's what I felt like was going to happen. He goes, and just so you know, who do you think creates a lot of these problems? We do. We want a big burst of energy. We create an earthquake. We make things happen. So basically, you humans are like pawns. When there's not enough emotion floating around, we cause a catastrophe. That was a lot to take in. I was shocked. I said, well, then let me ask you a question. Why is it the ones that go to the light come back and start over as a baby? Why wouldn't you just set them back on Earth as a grown-up? No. We get a big rush as soon as that baby's born. Doctors whip it, that baby cries. That's high energy there. So basically, we're like cattle. You don't kill off the whole herd. You keep a few heifers back to breed to keep your stock going. He goes, yeah, that's about the size of it. So basically, we're in an aquarium. We're like goldfish in an aquarium. He goes, something like that. That's a lot to take in. But I'm making note. I'm storing it up here in my file. He said, we've even been known to project an image just to get energy. Pop into somebody's bedroom or pop into an old house or out in the yard or in the woods, wherever. And let people see us as ghosts. It's we've even been known to show up in people's bedroom as a ghost to get them scared. Just feed off that energy. I'm in shock. But sounds logical. Then he proceeded to tell me that they have no need to lift on nothing. So they don't need muscles. They can conserve room by being tiny like that. That's, well, it stands to reason too, because if you do manual labor, you get calluses and you get stronger for what you're doing. So besides just being like cattle and you're feeding off our energy, our emotions, what the hell was we created for? Well, your case is different. But the human race was created. We needed mining done. So we figured we didn't need nothing very smart. We just needed something big and something that we could control and never let them get smart, like education. All they had to know was go dig out what we show them to dig out, bring it back to us. That's all they need to know. We give them the basics. We told them what foods they could eat, where to find it, near where they was working. They said it come a time they would decide they didn't want to work. They were huge. Some of them ranged anywhere from 6 foot up to 10, 12 foot tall. But when he described them, because that was my next question, what these beings look like? Were they giants or what? No, that would come later. These were big, human-looking, what would become human later. No monkey face. A human-like face. Just bigger. Covered with hair. Because sometimes, here on Earth, according to where you're at, we have 4 seasons. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. And these beings were created to mine for gold and other precious things. Diamonds, rubies, sapphires, all kinds of stuff. Gold was their main thing, and crystals. Well, some of them decided not to work. Oh, yeah, we could use our mind to pick up a rock and kill them with it. But then you have to create more of damn things. So we decided to put it to sleep. I said, oh, you mean like Adam did, or like God did Adam? He goes, well, that's a story, but yeah, make him go to sleep. Well, we created females for them so they could have recreation, have companions, so when they wasn't mining, they could, you know, hang out together. Then we give them the emotion. That was kind of a mistake because they got to where they wanted to spend time. The males wanted to spend more time with the females than actually work. So that didn't help. So we laid them down. We took a little bit of alien DNA that we'd put in this thing that you guys call Bigfoot, Sasquatch, etc. We decided we need a guard, something that will equal this thing's strength and power, keep them under control. So when they said no, but they decided they wasn't going to work, we just turned this being loose on them. So what kind of being was it? Well, you all be calling it Dogman. Okay. So every time these creatures decided they wasn't going to work, they'd sick dogs loose on them. Dogman. Upright, cryptid. Keep them under control. Well, Dogman needed mates. So they made a deal that they would create female for the males. Because the males were bigger. Same thing happened. They decided they wanted to hooty-doo more than they did work. And of course, when the female kicked out a litter, she was going to be down for a while because she got to take care of them pups. So that just kind of blew up in their face. It worked for a while pretty good, but it started blowing up in their face. Because these things, the hairy men and these dog men, started populating. Things started to get out of hand. So eons down the line, they took a little DNA from the alien, from what we call Bigfoot, the hairy man, from the dog man, and created us hairless monkeys. And that's probably a bigger mistake than the other two mistakes they made. They have a weird sense of humor. They said, well, that worked better because we was smaller, more manageable for a while. As men evolutionized, they decided that they had women now, but they would trade for knowledge, for fire, how to make garbs, clothes, duds, whatever you want to call it, bloomers, underwear, socks, later on shoes. Well, at first it started out being a pretty good trade. Teach this hairless monkeys how to build fire and not teach the other two types of creatures this. That sparked a war. And ever since then, man has always tried to tame, manipulate animals, beasts, as you call them. And when they couldn't, they decided to adorn their house with their hides, heads, and antlers, so on and so forth. Well, the aliens were like, okay, it's a fair deal. Well, you know how man is? They're always trying to improve on things. And back then, wasn't much different. They didn't have the brains or the tools and the know-how that we do today. But they were still fucking with things. They went from building fires to keep warm and cook their food, whether it be a dinosaur leg or who knows what the hell all they was eating. Then, somehow, they got the knowledge, because they got it from these aliens, how to take a long-ass stick, put a piece of vine on it, take another piece of stick, add a flint on the end of that thing, or you would add some dead twigs on there and twine it together, light it on fire, and shoot that son of a bitch. See how shit goes? One thing will lead to another. Well, it went from asking for one piece of knowledge to, well, you want 5,000 pounds of gold. I gotta have about 4 or 5 things of knowledge. Them damn T-Rexes getting bad, I gotta learn how to wipe their ass out. Keep them away from my porch. My wife getting tired of going out there sweeping, and some bitch come try to attack her. Well, after a while, the alien got tired of this bullshit. Before, it was a one-on-one trade. But now, these hairless talking apes are asking for more than we're getting. Well, after eons, the aliens like, we gotta fool these hairless monkeys. They're starting to get too damn smart. They kept trying to explain to us hairless monkeys, human beings, you make us mad and we will go up. Back where we come from. They never did come from up there. That was just some bullshit they said to amaze us hairless monkeys. They did that sleight of hand shit. They get in a ship and they go up. Go through a portal. You know where they ended up? Antarctica. In the oceans. Up in the mountains. They've always been here. They ain't never left. That was just a sleight of hand trick. So we wouldn't be knocking on their door. Hey, how about some gold for some knowledge? They got tired of messing with us. We got too big for our britches and started learning how to barter and cheat them little bastards. That's what it was really all about. I didn't realize how much talking we had did, and I had lost track of time. I didn't know. I was just amazed. I was shocked. But I can understand that better. And he goes, now we decided to work with humans. I said, well, I do got a question. Is there such thing as an Ark of the Covenant? He goes, it's not what you've been told. It was a weapon that we give the technology to the human race. I said, well, what the hell was it? It was a gold box like you were told. But there's 2 chemicals that goes inside there. and they're kept in bases. Whenever you want to use it for a weapon, the lid is taken off. The two contents of each one of these two bases is poured into the center of it. You put the lid back on it, and as you're going across the desert with it covered, it starts generating power. And as it generates power, because it does, it forms into a pyramid, sucking power. If somebody touches that thing with their bare hands, it kill you deader than hell. You set that outside of a building, after you go around it so many times, building that energy, it will cause that building to crumble and fall. I always wondered about that. Now I know. So the history we've been told got just a little ounce of truth to a whole bunch of lies. I'm fascinated. Even got told that they started out, after years of staying away from us hairless monkeys, they decided to make contact a little bit before World War II. They give Hitler the Spear of Destiny, which later on I lifted and took back to my handlers because they wanted it. And what it was, it's like, just say that our nation is going to be friends with, just say, Africa. Well, we would give them something from our country, like maybe a baseball and a bat and a glove, and they might give us a shield and a spear. That's what these aliens was doing. And they was helping Hitler. They showed him how to make the Glocke, the German bell. They also helped him make rockets, give him the information on that, jet engines, UFOs, all this good stuff, and they was whipping the shit out of everybody. But this Hitler started getting too greedy and too crazy and wanted to take over the world, and the aliens weren't going to have that because they wanted to be the rulers. So they decided to make a deal with the U.S. When they switched sides, Germany lost. How do you think our little small country, we helped France get liberated, Russia get liberated, Britain, all these countries that was taken over that were 3 times our size. Do you think we done that just out of the blue? We had help. That's how. By making friends with them, we turned the tide to the war. And I ain't knocking our good fighting people. But I'm just saying, without their influence, Hitler would have kicked our ass plumb back to the Stone Age. That's how that come to be. So when I tell you in other videos and on the other channel with Ethan that it's all connected, there you go. You're welcome. Do with that information what you will. You can either believe it, discard it, whatever. I'm just telling you what I know. What I was told, I'm telling you. You out there in YouTube land. I've been on many missions with these Greys. I've worked side by side with them. They pick my brain, I pick theirs. I've seen some of their craft, been inside of some of their craft. They used to land inside the building where I worked, where I was housed most of the time. Sometimes under the cover of darkness, sometimes during the day. They had a bay that they would, kind of like a garage, you know, they'd open that bay up when they was coming, let them in and shut it back down. That way keep prying eyes from the ocean seeing it. And a lot of times those UFOs were spotted coming that way. But that's how that went. That's how I've been on a lot of missions. I've been to some of their bases. Antarctica. Under the ocean. Other places I won't dare speak about. They're here, they've always been here, and always will be until one country or our country and another country or a couple other countries decide to blow the hell out of this place, and that'll be the end for all of us, aliens and humans alike, along with the cryptids and whatever else. And there's lots of things. Our government's even trying to, with this damn CERN and this other shit, they're trying to take all these realms that are stacked and bring them down where they're even and then bump them together. So hell, you might be someday walking down the street, all of a sudden a fucking saber-toothed tiger jump out and eat your ass. Be like on the Flintstones. See people riding brontosauruses down the road, not making a stoplight, and all of a sudden T-Rex come through and T-bone his ass. Killed everybody on board. See elves out there directing traffic. Leprechauns up there changing lights. You think things are fucked up now? Our government, they could fuck up a 40-pound anvil in the middle of a 40-acre field with a fucking tack hammer. They're about that brainless and that worthless. I'm living proof of that shit. They fuck up everything they touch, and you give them an inch of power, and them pricks will take the whole mile. That's why they should always be kept in check by citizens. Rich, poor, ugly, pretty, fat, skinny, tall, short. Because without that, them son bitches would run as crazy as a team of horses right off a cliff and take us with them. Hell, they put us out there in the front and make us go over first. They always have, always will. But that's a story for another time. But just know, just like people, just like horses, just like anything, you have good aliens, bad aliens. You have the Greys, the tall whites, the Nordics, reptilians, shapeshifters. There's a wide variety, just like there is a wide variety of human beings. Different shapes, sizes, and whatnot. But somehow, some way, going to have to learn how to share this world. Everything, including different varieties of aliens, dogmen, Bigfoot, everything else that's out there. Because them idiots have their way, and they're mad scientists and crazy shitbirds. They will bring all these realms down and bump them together. That's going to be a fucking sight to see. Hopefully before it gets that far, I've done checked out My wife done burnt me and put me in an urn in a hole somewhere. I don't have to see all their craziness. Getting worse by the day. People going crazy. But, ain't it a wonderful world? I was glad I got away from that projects and them mad scientists, crazy lunatics. Got my own life. Enjoying what I can of it. Got a good wife. Lots of good animals. I even got a red-headed, freckled pup over there. He's like a fungus. He kind of grows on you. But he's loyal. And I've got a pretty good life now. I still got a lot of scars. But I finally get that gold at the end of the rainbow. I have to live kind of in the shadows. But that's all I've known, so I finally get to have my dream. No matter how I have to get it, by living in the shadows and not venturing out a lot like the rest of you people. But my life's always been different than everybody else's. There was one question that I asked that little gray. Asked him if he knew how they created me. What all they put in that milkshake? I don't know if these aliens can laugh or not, but if so, this little bastard was laughing. All in due time. That really didn't tell me much. I guess that meant you'd have to wait. Well, that day never came. But I slept pretty good the next 2 days. When they finally got me roused up, a couple days later, another day of learning. Oh, gee, okay. The last one wasn't bad. Maybe this won't be as bad either. These crazy fuckers have been working on a Frankenstein project. Resurrecting the dead. I was showing a lot of what they were doing. I seen a lot of their mistakes. I seen some of these poor souls that don't ask me how they got the body. Don't know. They were stiff as a poker and cold as a piece of refrigerated meat. They were dead. They would reawaken them, so to speak. Most of them wanted to go back to their everyday life. When they were told they couldn't, most of them lost their minds, went berserk. They've been better off let them poor souls rest where they was at instead of messing with them. I thought that was pretty goddamn cruel, but I didn't get to call the shots. I just got to play the cards I was dealt. That was it. But yes, I did see a lot of that. There was even some of them poor things that got out of the building and wandered that place for quite a little while before they was neutralized. We'll say that. That, I don't even like to talk too much about it, but yes, they were taking and bringing people back that were dead. All these people wanted to do, most of them, was go back to their life. Well, that wasn't going to be allowed. It seemed they just, to me, it felt like they just mercilessly tortured these people when they could have just left them deceased like they were. What if some of these people had got off of that island and had somehow made it back to their place? Can you imagine what it would have done to those families? These people had no conscience and still don't have no conscience. They don't have a heart. I think there's just an empty spot there where a heart should have been. They were just crazy, cruel-hearted, all the above, but below. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those test subjects. It just, I don't know what kept me from going insane, other than I always held on to one thing. I was going to survive come hell or high water and have what I always wanted, which is what I have right now. Even though I don't have a lot of the freedoms everybody else does, I still have what I've always wanted. I've got it. I live life as pretty good for everything I've been through and having to stay kind of hid away from the world. But I've seen lots of crap. You don't see all this and experience all this stuff that it don't still play in your brain. Have good days and bad days. But I have all this information right here. Now I'm trying to get that information out a little bit at a time. It helps ease some of the pain and trauma. But it don't make up for all the wrong that was these people done. There ain't no way to rectify it. So I just try to enjoy my time as much as possible. Tell you folks about it. Hope that maybe you'll better understand things that happen and why I am the way I am. It's a hell of a thing to live with. But so far I'm still here. I'm still kicking. Enjoying what I can when I can. I never really ever thought I'd ever have what I got right now. Contrary to these assholes taking everything away from me, including my being a legitimate person like everybody else. They've taken my identity. Taken everything. Except for one thing. They didn't get all of me. So what is left that's good is right here. with my wife, my little place, my animals, and my red-headed little buddy over there laying in his cage yawning like a big fat bear. But that's the way things are. I'm going to say goodnight for now, and I've chewed enough of your ear for tonight. And got out some more information. And it's up to you. You can take the information I'm giving you and think about it. Or, nah, it's up to you. All I can do is tell you the truth, what all I've went through. But in the end, it's up to you. Do with the information what you will. If you like anything I've said, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a message. Ask me a question. Or just say hi. I'll answer you back. This is Henry, and I'm going to say goodnight. I'm starting to get a little tired. Need to smoke. So, goodnight. I'll talk to you in the next one. This is Henry saying goodnight.